All right, B'siyata Dishmaya, we are here, Shara Yichud, Chavrat B'yam Darkecha. We are in B'yam Darkecha, Rachel and Leah. And now we are starting the third chapter. Ma Yasu Anshe Rachel She'en Lehem Or. What are Rachel people meant to do when they don't have light? Basically, for a quick recap, for those of you who haven't been part of this Chabura, Rachel and Leah are the two halves of the Shekhinah, and all of the souls of Am Yisrael come from the Shekhinah, says the Arizal, and they are found on either side, either Rachel or Leah, and you have a lot of people also that are down the middle, and they lean Rachel, they lean Leah as well. But a lot of people are more to one side or the other. Leah is the aspect of your perspective of the world always being down on what do I have to do here as a human being, what is my job, what is my role, and not so much on the spirituality and the lights and all of that. Although a Leah person could have that, their nature is more focused on this world and how what we have to do here is creations of Hashem. Whereas Rachel is focused more on the light of Hashem and how can I find the light of Hashem in this situation in this world. Right? One is the aspect of the Ben, the son, that's Rachel, obviously. They were looking for the relationship and the emotional side of connection to Avodat Hashem. And the other side, Leah, is the aspect of what's called an Evid, a slave, a servant, where they don't get into the emotional things. It's very intellectual. I was told to do something, I have to do it. It's not too much of a calculation here. So, this chapter is going to be, what do Rachel people do, the more spiritual people do? What do they do when they don't have light? Thank you very much. There's a hardship for Rachel to serve Hashem when they lose their emotional connection with Hashem, when they lose the light. The big problem is, the main hardship that Rachel souls go through is that it's very, very hard for them to deal with things that they don't have a connection to, a feeling of light from, a feeling of fulfillment. And they don't have a desire towards that thing. Since their soul is seeking out light, then the soul can't muster up the power needed to deal with something if there's not going to be light there, or if I'm not going to feel that light there, if it's not going to be revealed to me. Like learning Gemara sometimes, right? The vitality of the souls of Rachel comes from the light. At the root of the idea, it's about revealing godly lights. The outcome of that is on all levels of whatever the light of a Rachel soul is coming down from its source all the way down here. On every level, it's seeking out light and a connection. Therefore, it's very, very hard for them to deal with something that it doesn't have light. Because on every level, a Rachel soul needs a connection and needs to feel it. And if it's not there, no matter where they're holding, they need to be engaging with it. For example, in times when a person doesn't have success, or he doesn't have the drive and the desire that he needs to do what he needs to do, he doesn't have the fulfillment and the good feeling and the vitality that comes out of his avodah. The avodah, limud, the tefillah, praying, learning, all of these different things. It becomes very, very hard for that person to go through it. Because a Rachel person is always, always pulled after and attracted to the light and the fulfillment. And in the same measure that they get it, so too will be their fulfillment, and so too will be the success. The more they feel it, the more powerful their avodah is, the more powerful their whole entire engagement with Hashem is. So if the light is extinguished, and he doesn't feel light, he doesn't feel success, he doesn't feel fulfillment, then it's very hard to get through that, it's very hard to do it. And this idea, not only is it a big loss for himself, for the person himself, the Rachel soul that lost all of its light, he feels a great loss. You missed the shacharit because you didn't feel good at shacharit, because you're a Rachel soul and you didn't feel it, so you missed out now on a shacharit. You could only have done it then. You had to do it then. There's another mist. There's another thing that they lose out on because of this emotional inclination, and that is even if they manage to ascend to the mountain of Hashem, and to receive some kind of light from their avodat Hashem, on whatever level that it might be, they're not able to stand in His holy place. You might get some lofty lights of revelation, but let's see you can sustain it. Let's see you tap in every day to that same, take that one big light and spread it over many, many weeks and many, many months, like Rav Torjman says, right? You can have a huge spotlight in a stadium. You can have that much light, or the same quantity of light in tea candles along the side of the road for the rest of your life. Which would you choose? One big light that's going to blast you away and you're going to feel amazing for 2 hours, but after that you're going to feel like you fell off the Eiffel Tower? Or you take the exact same amount of light, but every day a little bit, and that's guiding you along the way. When all of a sudden for a Rachel's soul that's very up down, the hardships come and the tests come, and the light disappears, and all of the desire to serve Hashem disappears, so then they fall without any force. You don't have to push them even. They lose the level that they already reached to. Then the depths of Kabbalah, you're never losing levels, you're only ever ascending. So, right? But this is all in our perspective. We had a very good week, let's say, right? Finished Tehillim, made it the Shacharit, Mincha, and Arvit every single day. The next week, you can barely put on tefillin every day. Right? You're struggling, you're fighting the Yetzer Hara to put on your tefillin before Shkia. Why? This is what's going on. For Rachel souls, this happens a lot. Kikachi derech avodah. This is the way of avodat Hashem. After an Aliyah, there's a Yerida. After Gadlut, there's Katnut. Right? We go up, then comes the down. We get expansion in our consciousness, and there's going to be a constriction. And only if a person's able to stand strong through all of the test of the downfall is he revealing that he really, really, truly acquired the light of the ascent. Only then is he able to ascend to the next gadlut, to the next level of expansion. Right? So we go up and we get a lot of information, we get a lot of connection to Hashem, and we're downloading, and all of a sudden, they shut off the Wi-Fi. Right? Not only that you can't download, no, they shut off the Wi-Fi, they shut off everything, all systems down. Now, what are you expected to do? What you're commanded to do. Nothing big, nothing too strong. Don't try to finish all of Tehillim. Don't go running to Kivrei Tzadikim. Don't go to try to do big things that are going to give you some kind of good feeling. No, go to pray Shacharit like you're told to do every single day, whether you feel like it or not. And the more that you're able to make these consistent patterns of checking in with Hashem and keeping halacha and going to prayers and doing what you have to do, not the big things, doing what you have to do, you're showing how much of the understanding of Hashem did you really get when you went up. Because when you went up, you understood that it's all Hashem. You didn't get angry at the guy that cut you off. You didn't get scared of the bills. This, that, and the other. Everything was clear. It's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? That's Gadlut. Great. Kol HaKavod. Hashem opened up your mind and showed you Him in every facet of your life, and you got through the test. Now when it gets closed, and you lose that knowledge, because Hashem decided that right now it's time to go down, at that moment, are we now able to prove what did we really acquire when we were up? How much did you really learn about Hashem when you were up? Can you stay loyal to Him now? And then, if you can, you get to the next level of greatness, of expansion, where there you're going to be on a much higher level because you proved already that now that you're deserving of even more expansion, even more revelation. So whoever doesn't stand strong during the katnut, during the test, during the darkness, then his gadlut that will come after the katnut will be the same gadlut that he had before. Right? So you start to run in a circle. You're not really able to make progress. Obviously, there's many levels to this. And every katnut, for sure, if you went to gadlut and you got something, some of it has to stay with you. Right? Why don't you get a new gadlut? Why don't you get the next level gadlut? Because you didn't acquire the first level properly. You didn't really complete it. So you're not able to really make progress. So let's just go back. We have a few footnotes that we skipped over. It's like Mario. It's like Mario. And if the video games if at every level it doesn't get harder, you stop playing, right? Because I didn't buy a video game to play the same level 120 times and then think I finished the game. No, I bought it that every level it's going to get harder as I get better at the game. And it might be that I didn't die at all until level 26. At level 26, it might take me a few tries to get through it, right? Thank God I have a few lives that come in the game, right? I have a mikveh that I can go and start over. I have a sefer, I have a tzaddik, I have a friend that I can talk to.
You say 26 on the
But this feels like
No,
Minecraft.
I just pulled out.
This feels like Minecraft. You don't feel like you're going through levels.
So, on the idea of a desire to do something, it is a clear expression of light. When you have a cheshek, what's called cheshek in Hebrew, when you have a desire towards something, not a lust, like I want to go to shachrit today. Yeah, like I want to finish. I want to say tikkun klali. I want to go to a tzaddik. I want to learn right now. That cheshek, that drive, it's an expression of the light that you're feeling. Because when a person has light, one of the benefits of it is this fulfillment or some kind of, you feel good about an idea, then he has a soul attraction to that thing and to doing it. And he has this attachment, this attraction that he has between him and this avodat Hashem, or this idea in his life. That's what's called cheshek. But when a person feels that he's not successful, or he feels that I'm not going to get anything out of this, right? It's not going to be that much worth it. Then he's not going to get any outcomes. He won't receive any light because he doesn't have cheshek. He doesn't have an attachment to that thing. He's not anticipating it, so it's not coming towards him. There's nothing there. And then so when a person doesn't have success, right, he doesn't have this desire. When you lose that cheshek, it could happen for a few different reasons. Either because you think that you're not going to be successful when you actually have to go do it, right? You got super excited about something and all of a sudden I don't want to do it anymore. What happened? One of the reasons could be you saw yourself failing already, right? So now you don't want to do it anymore. You really do want to do it, but you have a fear that you're going to fail, so now you lost the connection and the drive that you have, right? Or you don't understand something, or you don't remember your Torah that you were learning, or because the Yetzer Hara put inside your head all different thoughts of despair, of Yeush from doing Avodat Hashem. In general, in finer ideas, right? Shacharit as a whole, or just the korbanot within the shacharit, it's not that important, right? It can happen in all different levels. Or you find yourself in a time of katnut, of restriction, and everything's dry for you, and you just don't feel, right? You would love to do it, you would love to feel, but you don't. And in these times, sometimes you have hard times and you don't feel like doing things, right? This happens also in physical things, in mundane things. That people of Rachel, they can only work in certain jobs or on projects that they have a desire to do that, to be busy with that thing. Right? The Rachel person is usually going to be a little bit more artistically inclined, right? Go put them in a pen pushing or a computer job all day long in an office. They might not be successful doing it, right? I'm speaking from experience. You gotta get out the corporate world at a certain point when you get deeper in Torah. Unless you can get so deep that you're able to really do it properly. I'm not on that level yet, so the extremes where it's too strong, right? I can't be in an office all day long. I can't.
Animal lovers? Like are more the animal lovers?
I don't know. It could be though.
Maybe like working in construction.
Inyanim shenotnim sipuk, right? So they have to be dealing with things that give them fulfillment. And this feeling of I'm doing something important in my life. And they're not able to stay sustainably inside a job or inside kind of a project that they're working on when they don't feel fulfillment, when they don't have this feeling of I'm really doing something special here. I'm part of something that I'm actually attracted to, I'm connected to. Or they can't work with people that cause them negative emotions all day long. Another thing that's very, very hard for Rachel souls. Because their soul is always connected to the light and to the pleasantness of feeling the light, and for this sense of good vibes and positivity. They want to feel good. They're not interested in having negative emotions surrounding them, or being involved with some kind of career path or job that doesn't talk to them and fulfill them. This is found in many different things in the world. And the truth is that a lot of things we have to do, even if we don't feel like we want to do them. Right? We have to learn how to do that as well. And on the last footnote that we have here, about not progressing to the next gadlut because you didn't really acquire the previous level. This is a very, very big problem, he says, since it's very hard for them to be successful in katnut, for Rachel souls to make it through the constriction, and the heart and the koshi, the hardship after the light, then they're not able to really acquire the light properly. And the rule is like this: that every light needs a vessel. Right? Lights need vessels. What are vessels? They are actions of loyalty from a place of katnut and hardship and taking upon yourself the Torah. In our terms, you don't feel like going to Shacharit, you go to Shacharit. That's how you prove loyalty. Loyalty is only tested when there's a question if you're being watched or not, or you have to do it or not, or this, right? If you're standing in front of the king, you would never cheat. You'd never be a traitor in front of the king, right? In front of your wife, you're not going to go cheat on her, right? That's not how you prove loyalty. It's obviously that you're going to be loyal in that situation. The loyalty is afterwards, when there's darkness, when there's doubt, am I alone, am I not, right? And that is it's hard for me. I don't feel like staying loyal. That's when it's proven, right? So a person, when they're able to push through and to get through the hardships and to stay loyal to Hashem, then they're making the vessels. And without the vessels, the light is always going to be lost. But with the vessels, you can keep more of the light of your gadlut. And Rachel people, since it's very, very hard for them to be dealing with things that they don't receive light from them, then they're not usually used to investing in building vessels. And therefore, their light gets lost again and again and again and again. And they don't understand that what do you have to do to keep it? Sit down, pray in the shul for an hour without moving, come back in the afternoon for another hour of 2 more prayers, read a few pieces of Tehillim through your day, learn a few halachot, take 15 minutes to learn a Shiur Torah on YouTube or whatever you can, open a book, do something small along the way because you have to do it, not because you feel like it. Because that's just what a Jewish man does. That's what a Jewish woman does. We daven, we learn, we do mitzvot, whether we feel like it or not. Those are the vessels to keep all of the lights that you experience. That's the Leah. That is the Leah. Their whole life is about making vessels, whereas Rachel is all about focusing on the light, right? So Rachel people have to lean on to the side of Leah, where they actually start to invest in making vessels, especially when they lose their own light, and they don't have it. Another way that you can bring this in, let's say now, not about necessarily losing light, but let's say you go to a big tzaddik, you have a holiday, you have a Shabbat, you have something, a period of time or an event, or you're next to a person that there's a lot of light, right? And you're receiving from this light. If you want to keep that light, just do one example, right? It's now Shabbat. You had an amazing Shabbat. You felt a lot of light on Shabbat. You don't want to lose the light. What do? After Shabbat, or after the Shacharit that was so amazing, the Musaf that was so amazing, you sit down, you take out a book of Tehillim, or you take out a Mishnah Berurah or a Shulchan Aruch, whatever it is, and you learn 2 halachot, you learn 2 Mishnayot, you read 2 Pirkei Tehillim, and you say, Hashem, this is my vessel for that amazing experience that you just gave me. That was so good, I don't want to lose any of it. Here's a small vessel, this is what I can make right now. It's so precious to me that I can't continue my day without stopping and learning 2 halachot. I don't want to lose it, please. That's one way that you can do it throughout your life, because there's many times where as spiritual people we experience very, very lofty things, we see very, very holy things, we feel amazing emotions, and they're fleeting us. They can escape us all the time, right? So the way to store it is always just, here Hashem, you just gave me a light, here's my vessel for it. 2 pieces of Tehillim. That's it, mamash, kipshuto. It's not more complicated than that.
Could it be any mitzvah?
Any mitzvah, yeah, give to the ka. Yes, just do a kli is always a physical thing. That's why it's the side of Leah. What can I do as a creation, right? The light is God's light. It's never my light. Rachel knows that, Leah knows that, everybody knows that. It's never my light. It's Hashem's light. So if it's always Hashem's light, the only thing I could ever do to keep that is to make a vessel, right? And that's Leah's natural way of living, is just making vessels, whether you have light or not. And that's why the person that goes on that path, in the end they will for sure see light, because they have where to hold the light. So when it comes, it will stay. But Rachel people who don't focus on making vessels, they think that they're all about the light, and they experience light, and wow, that was so cool, that was so amazing, that was so trippy, that was so deep. But really, the next day they're broken and they can't move. Why? Because they had no ability to attain that thing, because they don't stay consistent with their avodat Hashem.
Making the vessels, doesn't
So
mean-
sometimes you can really have despair, because they see that every single time that they got some kind of light, every single time that they went through a holiday, or it was a beautiful tefillah, all these different things that we just mentioned, all of a sudden afterwards the light disappears. Where'd it go? Right? And all of a sudden, boom, falling back down to lust. Since they need light all the time, and they can't get the light in the Torah, or the light of the Torah and spirituality is not staying into them, so then they're going to go to the drugs, they're going to go to the girls, they're going to go to the alcohol, right? Because the light of the Torah, they can't retain it. They have a liver, though. The liver can hold alcohol. So at least that light will stay inside, and it's going to work, right? But Rachel is Rachel on every level, right? I have a l'chaim with my water, guys. Baruch Hashem.
Making a vessel means something simple, right? Not like a Gemara or
It's
something.
also Gemara. If your level is Gemara, then Gemara, right? But if it's not, then a Mishnah. 2 pieces of Tehillim. Give tzedakah. Give 2 coins inside the pushka and say, Hashem, this is tzedakah as a vessel. The whole idea is do something physical. And yes, tefillah is also physical because you use your mouth, and that's an action in the world. Do something physical to store that spiritual light.
Does it have to be a mitzvah?
Everything you're going to do would it be a mitzvah? What else would it be?
Going to
Or
If you can say it has to be a mitzvah, then it gives us like categories. Then it's
that would be the ideal thing, is to make it a mitzvah. Everything you should do in life is a mitzvah. But also, if you go to work and you have in mind to be upholding your ketubah, to provide for your wife, that's also a mitzvah, going to work, right? But obviously, when we're talking about spiritual things, there's obviously levels to it. So, but you could say, right now, you want to open a business, right? But you don't have the ability to do it. So you open the LLC. That's making a vessel, right? You open a company. You open a BAM, Chibrat BAM, or Atzmai or something like that. You just make the vessel, right? And now, when the light is ready to come, because it's not there yet, it has where to come to. Right? Like here, we're here 5 months. We have no money to pay rent here. But every day we show up and we learn Torah, and we're signed in a contract that we're meant to pay rent every month. We haven't paid a dime yet. We haven't owed yet. But soon it's about to start. We owe money here. Hopefully we've built enough of a vessel here every day that the money will come in.
Donate today.
Donate now. Shari Yichud. All right. So the next thing we're going to learning about is Kli Leah, or Klei Leah, the vessels of Leah. For Anshe Leah, can we unscrew that? For Leah people, they don't have these hardships so much.
That is annoying.
They don't have the hardships so much. Ki nafsham b'nuya al pi hasechel. Their nefesh is built according to intellect, and its vitality comes just from the core of doing work, from putting in effort, without receiving any outcome, any light afterwards, nothing. They don't need that. They enjoy the process. And in their nature, they have very, very strong kelim. They have strong vessels. And that is Kabbalat Ol. They're able to take upon themselves to do a mitzvah, whether they feel like it or not. That's being able to serve Hashem without seeking out any goal, any unique outcome, right? If I go to Shacharit, I know I'm going to feel good afterwards. Leah people don't think like that. Leah people say, I need to go to Shacharit. It's time to wake up, it's time to go. There's no thought even of the outcome of doing it. That's what I have to do. And another vessel that they have is that their actions are done according to their intellect, without involving any of the emotions of the heart. And Mimele, if that's the case, then they don't have such a hard time dealing with things without getting light from it, without getting fulfillment from it. And they're able to, in a much easier sense, get through the test of katnut, of constriction, of losing the light. Because they have the ability to do what they need to do according to knowing that that's the right thing that needs to be done right now. It's not an emotional thing. This is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. They even take pleasure in doing what they were commanded to do. Im hem mikablim mizeh or lo. They don't pay attention so much. Are they getting something out of it? Is there light here? Is there not light here? No, that's it. Listen, I was given a commandment. It's time for mincha. It's time for mincha. I'm going to feel good about it. Want to do it. Didn't even go there to ask those questions. It's time for mincha. That's it. Show up. Right? Is it going to be a good one? Is it going to be a bad one? Did I have kavanah? Did I not have kavanah? How was that mincha? They don't even go there. By nature, they just do what they got to do. One more thing. No, one more little thing. Rachel people are obligated. They have to acquire the tools of Leah. These tools of Leah, they are the only solution for the problem of Rachel people. Therefore, Rachel people have to get used to using the tools of Leah, that their main thing is, what are the tools of Leah? The main aspect, itbonenut hasechel, contemplation of mind, and kabbalat ol, taking upon myself the yoke of the kingship of heaven. The fact that Shulchan Aruch was given, the 613 mitzvot that I have to follow, whether I like it or not, I have what to do. Meaning, to get used to working hard and putting in effort with tenacity without receiving any light and without even feeling any light towards doing the thing. Just because kach tzarich, this is what you have to do. Ki kach ratzon Hashem, this is the will of Hashem. V'ani anivrach chayav la'asot et ratzono, and me, the creation, I have to do His will. ולכן עשה השם יתברך שנשמות רחל מסובבות באנשי לאה. Therefore Hashem made it that Rachel's souls are always surrounded by Leah's souls. ואי אפשר להם להתעלם מנוכחותם. It's impossible for a Rachel soul to ignore the presence of a Leah person next to him. And sometimes people of Leah are mamash dochakim b'anshei Rachel. They are stressing out and pressuring the Rachel souls. V'kol ze mechuvan. All of this is intended from heaven. There's a divine purpose here. Kidei she'anshei Rachel yasimu lev lakachet et klei Leah la'avodatam. It's so that Rachel people should pay attention and see what their peers are doing from the world of Leah, and to adopt their practices and their toolkit for their work. בסוד משיח בן דוד מתפלל על משיח בן יוסף שלא ימות. This is the secret that Mashiach ben David, which is Leah, has to pray that Mashiach ben Yosef, which is Rachel, should not die. Right? What does that mean? Ki zeh ha'pitaron yechid. This is the only solution that we have. שמוכרחים להתרגל לעבוד בדרך קבלת עול. We have to get used to serving Hashem from a place of Kabbalat Ol, from taking upon myself the mitzvot. It's just the blinds of the window, guys. And from the power of the intellect that say this is what we have to do. Do not stop doing your avodat Hashem even when it appears like there's no light, because there's always light. Ve'en tikva, ve'en matara, you have no hope, you have no goal, there's no reason to do it. Even in that situation, you have to keep on pushing. Ve'itbonenut ve'kabalat ol ve'yigia lema'aseh befal. This contemplation and this taking upon yourself the work and doing it in actuality, they are what build the external aspect of Rachel. And even though in the inner aspect, the yearning and the dveikut is more important, Rachel are always trying to look deeper. They're always trying to look at God's light. They're always trying to connect deeper. But that's the inner aspect. Externally, they know that there has to be a vessel to keep that light there. And in order to keep the light there, you have to build the vessels, and this is the way to do it. The only way to do it is by learning about doing work when you don't feel like doing work. Showing up, and just for the sake of showing up, right? And Rav Yitzhak talked about this a lot 2 weeks ago, that there's a certain power, Rabbi Nachman describes, of just girsa, of just learning to learn, just learning. Why? Because that's what you have to do. You don't understand anything. You pick up the Zohar and you just read. You pick up Tehillim and you just read. You pick up the Gemara and you want to learn Gemara, but it's not, you don't understand anything. You just keep going and going and going and going. Why? Because there's so much power in that, but not even attempting to understand. Not just reading the words, just going and going and going. Why? It's that powerful, right? And it's a vessel, and it's what you need to do in order to be able to hold any light. V'ezat Hashem itbarach.
Wow.